Okay. All right. So we are I just this is the Visitor Services Advisory Committee, and as the Visitor Services Coordinator, permit me to confirm that all members and persons anticipated on the agenda are present and can hear me. Members, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Mary Malaves,
Here.
Matt Peel,
Here.
Garrison Beal,
Here.
Liz Holland.
Here.
Staff, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Chantal Blois Murphy,
Here.
Dina Weatherly,
Here.
David Sharp here. Anticipated speakers on the agenda, please respond to the affirmative. John Rocket. Did you go?
Good morning.
Morning. Okay, this Visitor Services meeting is conducted remotely pursuant to Chapter 2 of the Acts of 2023. Ensuring public access does not ensure public participation unless such participation required by law. And the meeting will feature public comment. The Visitor Services Advisory Committee is convening by video conference via Zoom app as posted on the town's website, identifying how the public may join. Please note that the meeting is being recorded and that all attendees are participating by video conference. Accordingly, please be aware that other folks may be able to see you and to take care not to screen share your computer. Anything you broadcast may be captured by the meeting. All supporting materials that have been provided to members of this body are available on the town's website. Unless otherwise noted, the public is encouraged to follow along using the posted agenda unless the chair notes otherwise. We are now turning to the first item on the agenda, but before we do so, permit me to cover some ground rules for effective and clear conduct of our business and to ensure accurate meeting minutes. The chair will introduce each speaker of the agenda. After they conclude their remarks, the chair will go down the line of members, inviting each by name to provide any comment, questions, or motions. Please hold until your name is called. Further, please remember to mute your phone or computer when you're not speaking. And please remember to speak clearly in a way that helps generate accurate minutes. For any response, please wait until the chair yields the floor to you and to state your name before speaking. If members wish to engage in a conversation with other members, please do so through the chair, taking care to identify yourself. And after members have spoken, the chair will afford public comment to those members of the public who have joined the meeting via Zoom. Members of the public who wish to speak must state their names and be acknowledged by and speak through the chair. Finally, each vote taken in this meeting will be conducted by roll call vote. And that's all I have. So you may go ahead, Madam Chair.
All right. Thank you, David, for reading all the protocol. I noticed that here on Zoom Live, we do have a quorum for today's meeting.
Yes.
All right, first item on the agenda, a conversation with Sergeant Rocket. John, thank you so much for being here with us. I know you were probably very busy getting ready for another interesting and a busy summer. So thanks for taking the time. We're happy to be able to speak with you this morning and see how Visitor Services might assist you in your role with all the summer CSOs that are here. So thank you, John. Go ahead.
Absolutely. Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, everybody, for having me. For those of you that don't know me, I'm John Rocket. I'm a sergeant. I'm currently assigned to the day shift, and I've been with our department for 18 years. And 2 years ago, I took over the community service officer program after Dan Mack got promoted to lieutenant. He had served as the program coordinator for many years. So I've been enjoying that and getting ready for this busy summer. David asked that I just kind of hit on some things with the department and then obviously the core of the community service officer program. So on obviously under the leadership of Chief Casper, we're heading into our busy summer 2025. She has advocated for staffing right in her first year here for us. So we are actually, the fiscal budget popping in July 1st. We're increasing 2 officers. So that'll get us to 43 sworn officers. Obviously, I think all of you are aware with not just police, but fire and other areas of the island that always dealing with staffing crises. So currently we have 3 vacancies and then 4 officers in the police academy, currently 3 at the East Falmouth Police Academy and 1 at the Plymouth Police Academy. So currently dealing with some staffing issues, but relative to what I've seen in my 18 years, we're in pretty good shape heading into the summer. Not perfect, but definitely better than a lot of summers I've been a part of. Community service officers, the program's definitely going strong. We are hiring 40 community service officers this summer, and we have 20 returning from last summer. So that has a good foundation where so many returning CSOs that wanted to come back for their second or third summer. So that's been really good. We had over 100 interviews for the 20 open positions because all returners, if they'd like to come back and they did a good job, we have them back. So we had 20 open positions and over 100 interviews. I think the total was 106 new applications. And the core of those applications come from students and mostly schools in the New England area. But we had people applying from the West Coast, Colorado, Tennessee, Florida. So it's the reach of our community service officer program and the recruitment has been good. And a lot of it is word of mouth. So that's great. So the June 2nd with that week is when our community service officers will arrive for the summer, and they will have a training week that first week of June there. And that training, it gives them a good foundation of what we expected them. Obviously, they work for the police department, but the emphasis that we give them is that they're ambassadors, not just for our department, but for the town. When people get off the boat, come here for the first time at the airport, a lot of times the CSO is the first town representative that they see. And so we really have been drilling that home. I think you're going to see a major change in how they stick out this year. There's a uniform change. So they have traditionally in the last several years been aesthetically gray and blended in. And we are switching to a high visibility type yellow uniform shirt. And so I think you will find that they stick out a lot more than in years past. Those of you that may have walked through Hyannis and seen the Barnstable Police Department's community service officers, they wear a similar style shirt. Or if you've been up to Provincetown, they have a similar style shirt as well. It serves multiple functions. Number one being safety, visibility. If they step out into traffic, to direct traffic at a crash or a disabled motor vehicle or some type of parking hazard downtown, it'll cover them, make them more visible and safe. If they're on the bike or ATV, same thing. So that is the major change that I have to report to you for their uniform for this summer. So I think that'll be good as they do their duties. And so I think most people know that a lot of the CSOs are downtown, but we have them throughout the island. And so we have a bike officer assigned every day in the summer out in Sconset. We have a CSO assigned every day at the airport. And then we also have 2 CSOs assigned every day on bike patrol mid-island. And those are all the areas that are covered in addition to the downtown area. I know a big question that goes hand in hand with the community service officer program is that the loss or the retirement, I should say, of Officer Jerry Mack, who was serving in the last several years as the downtown police officer. So he is enjoying retirement and is happy than ever from what we gather and what we've seen. And it's a major void we'll have to fill. We're not going to have someone dedicated to that role. And so I think it's important to let you know here in this meeting so you can let other stakeholders and business owners and such and people downtown particularly know that. So even though there's not going to be one main officer, there will be a police officer dedicated to the core district downtown. As of now, it looks like it'll be between the hours of 9 a.m. and 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. and 7 p.m. And they'll be dedicated right to that downtown area, working mainly out of the sheriff's substation at 20 South Water Street and being available for all those downtown issues that arise throughout the summer. So with the community service officers of the different areas we cover, the different positions, obviously we have foot patrol, we have bicycle patrol, and we have ATV patrol on the beaches. Obviously we spoke to it, but parking enforcement is a big one, traffic control, and then some bylaw enforcement as well. That training week I spoke to, they get CPR certified. Before they come in, we have them do the mass ethics training and some of those things. So they get certifications in that. And then we have outside instructor this year. We'll be having someone come in for community interactions. We've kind of hit that. It used to be strategies for youth. And so we try to bring at least one outside instructor in each year to really hit home the community interaction and how to deal with people, de-escalation, etc. And then we wrap up the week. We do radio procedures and such, and then we wrap up the week with applied patrol procedures. And so we basically do scenarios where they all get to have different scenarios where they might deal with downtown or wherever they are on patrol, like someone that's mad about a parking ticket or a medical or a lost child or things like that. So that's kind of the meat and potatoes of kind of what we do and, you know, what we're looking forward to for the summer. I think it's important to get the word out there of what the community service officers do and are doing, and also really to get feedback from all of you and any input that you get from other business owners or people in the community, because the only way we can make the program better and evaluate at making it better is feedback from you all. So it's much appreciated. You know, I thank you again for having me, and I'm happy to answer any questions or anything along those lines. I did want to say the big emphasis too on top of community. Obviously, traditionally, David and Chantal have been coming in to speak with the CSOs during that training week every year. We've expanded that. We also bring in the chamber. We bring in town manager Libby Gibson and senior management of the town. We also bring in Gary Roberts from the NRTA. And other community stakeholders that can come and speak what they do and give these community service officers the knowledge and information to be able to spread to the people coming to the island, whether it's here for the summer or a day trip or whatever. So we're trying to give them all the tools to represent themselves in our town as best as possible. But like I said, feedback from you all is important, not just to me, but to our department. So we appreciate it. And then the other thing we've been trying to really press, and this will be my last long-winded thing here, but is with parking. So when we're teaching the parking, we've really kind of shifted to just saying go out and give tickets. I could go into myths versus reality with parking and things like that. But the big point that we try to drive home is that we do not ticket for money-driven basis. We do not have a quota. We enforce parking because of the parking function of having parking turnover. And we've tried to do a better job of going door to door to each business, going door to door to different residents in some areas, to getting know the people in the downtown area and the areas that we're ticketing particularly, to let them know we're coming. We do not want to give tickets. Despite what public perception may be, we do not like giving parking tickets. But the important thing that we drill home is that if we are not doing the parking function and having parking turnover, then people can't come down and spend money at these stores. They can't eat out at these restaurants if they can't find a parking spot. And so, you know, a lot of times employees and business owners, they want to park near their shops. And we understand that for convenience, loading, unloading, etc. But at the same time, if they're taking up a spot by their business for an allotted amount of time, that's someone that can't park in that spot and and spend money at that business or restaurant. And so really it's not parking enforcement. It's just kind of abiding by the parking function of trying to get turnover so people can get parking spots. So that's my last rant there. But like I said, no quotas, no money driven. The police department doesn't make any money directly off that. The parking tickets, it goes into the general budget and such. But that's obviously a lot of comments that we hear throughout. But I just think that any suggestions any of you have or questions, I'm happy to hear at any time. I'll make sure that you have my email or contact number if you need anything at all.
Thank you, John. I have one question. Have you seen any of the applicants over the number of years you've been involved, not just with them, but with all sorts of, what we used to call the summer special officers and now CSOs? Are they coming from a background of criminal justice training, or is it just boy, Nantucket looks like a great place in the summer? And is there any potential for some of these people to stay on like we've had in the past?
Yes, so we were advertising hard, not just on people that wanted to be police officers or to be in the criminal justice field, that really social sciences, but any type of community relations, customer service, backgrounds we appreciated. We have seen a shift in the last couple of years here with popularity in the program, and with so many people applying, and we've been very, very happy with that, because we're competing against a lot of different police departments that have modeled similar programs after the Nantucket program. For example, like I said, Barnstable, Provincetown are two of the big ones, but like Chatham, Orleans, Sandwich, Dennis, they all have them in small. No one has a program as big as ours with 40. So a lot of competition, but we're still getting a lot of applicants and people taking the job. And it's similar pay as well. So what you get paid on Nantucket is similar to what you're getting over in Barnstable as well. And we have seen a shift where people are applying that want to be police officers, and they want to help, bring forward the profession and maybe some of those negative perceptions that have happened in the last 10 plus years. Yeah. We've done a good job by fostering that CSOs aren't just coming here to work and part of our department, but we need them. We appreciate them. And we have encouraged that stuff. And I can tell you that I'm just looking at the list here. We have 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. Out of the last, I think, 14 officers that were hired as full-time police officers, 10 of those were community service officers. Yeah. We didn't see any community service officers apply full-time, or very few for several years there. So we're seeing a shift. So using the good experience as a community service officer and people wanting to be police officers, it's working, and it's helping a lot. And it gives us a chance to see their work performance, and if we would like to hire them full-time, and it gives them a chance to see if they feel Nantucket's going to be a good fit for them.
Yeah, no, I think that's a positive move for everyone, not only for them as young individuals, but for the community and for the visitors. My other last comment is, I'm glad to see that the other departments are coming in to give information, NERDA, and and people like that, because there again, the more information they have, the better that the visitors will be served, and that's what Chantal and David and Dina are all about. Is to make sure that those questions are answered. Does anybody on the committee have a question for John before he has to scoot off? Matt Peel.
Hey, John, thanks for joining us. I just wanted to touch back on the parking. I know you guys lowered, I think it's 96 hours if they park over in one spot before they can get towed, I think is a standard. I personally think it should be like 48 or 72, but I'm just wondering, does the department look at some sort of an impound or anything? Because I feel like the island is starting to collect, a lot of abandoned cars everywhere. And, as somebody who runs a business over in like the Richmond area, it's, there's abandoned cars everywhere. And it's just kind of one of those things where I think visitor services aspect of it, that the more stuff this island kind of collects, and you know, it's, I just don't want to see it degrade in a way, because we don't have like an impound or any kind of way to get rid of these abandoned cars. So I was just wondering if that was something that the force is looking at.
Yes, definitely. It's something that we've always dealt with. It's definitely been on the uptick the last couple of years here. It's definitely come a little bit more to light with the 2 fairgrounds municipal parking lot, and then obviously it was temporary transition during this off season out Surfside. But it's something we're always dealing with. We're regularly getting calls on it, and Chief Casper is definitely working towards trying to address the problems more head on than more in the past. It was probably just coming to us and then we'd address it. We're trying to get ahead of it. That's why having more organization over in that parking lot, getting that signage about the 96-hour enforcement and things like that. But it's definitely an issue. I can't tell you how many hours and hours we have spent on abandoned motor vehicles just in the last year. It's been a lot. And we don't look to just tow a vehicle or charge someone criminally for abandoning that property automatically. We exhaust all efforts to get in touch with that person, as we do a lot of time before we issue a ticket with anything in regards to parking and such. I mean, we call police departments if they're registered over on the Cape or mainland, and we do a lot of fact finding to try to figure out who these people are to just get them moved, because it is such a process to get them towed and get them removed. And then there isn't an impound area, unfortunately. And the Nantucket Auto Body does the bulk of our police department's towing, and they don't have storage capacity for all these vehicles too. So it's definitely an issue. It's something that's actively and currently being looked at to see how we can get better. You know, the other thing that's been coming up now is like trailers as well, like work trailers. Companies that they might not have a shop or a home base here in Nantucket, but they'll work out of trailers, and they're leaving those trailers not attached to their vehicles and just leaving them in municipal areas. And so we're dealing with that. And the Richmond development, that's definitely an area that we deal with regularly. We had an officer 2 days ago down on Dave Kim to address a lot of those vehicles that were parked up on the side there, no plates, no nothing. And so that gets a little trickier just because technically that's a private way. And so public versus private kind of can restrict how we enforce it and go about it. And so, but we work together with the private property owner, like we're working with Richmond and such to address those issues to get those vehicles out of there. But it's definitely a problem, and you know, there's not an immediate solution without that impound lot you're speaking to, for sure.
Liz, do you have a question for John?
Yes, I do. Thank you for joining us, Sergeant Rocket.
Good morning, Liz.
And great to hear, great to see you. Sorry, my camera's goofed up about something, but anyway, I just wanted to bring up the fact with Jerry Mack retiring, or as he's already retired, will it be a different person all the time, or will it be maybe a few people that will actually take his place? Just because I think it's important for me being down there on the wharf to have developed some sort of a relationship with whoever the town cop is going to be. So I just wanted to get some information about that as far as the continuity as well.
Yes. So right now it indicates it's kind of morphing as the summer comes here, but it's probably not going to be one dedicated officer like it was with Jerry Mack. I am a proponent of it being one point of contact that can handle a majority of the issues and then delegate accordingly. I think that's easier for us. I think it's easier for business owners, yourself, and different stakeholders downtown, and that they have one point of contact. I think it's always a different officer. I think there's just not enough consistency and efficiency, to be quite frank. So it looks like it's going to be an officer assigned off each day shift each day. that could end up being the similar officer most days, but there's right now not going to be identified single point of contact. What I can tell you is that as one of the day shift supervisors and the CSO program coordinator, I'm going to be at a loss without Jerry down there and helping kind of quarterback and coordinate things with the CSO. So you will find me down there a lot. I think you'll always be okay if you get in touch with the day shift supervisor or sergeant, and they will set you in the right direction for sure. And so I'm happy to be that. I'll make sure you have my cell phone number directly and my email directly, and then I can help coordinate that as well. But I'm happy to do that.
Wonderful. That's good news. Thank you very much.
I wish I had a better answer, but just the way our patrol operations lieutenant, that Angus McVicker, is set it up right now that it's not going to be one dedicated person.
Okay, thank you for your help. Appreciate it.
Of course. Thank you, Liz.
Yeah, Matt, do you have another question?
Yeah, I did. I was just curious, as far as visitors coming to the island, in your opinion, John, how is our messaging over, just our public transportation, things like that, just to avoid, people, if they do come here and rent a car, avoid people DUIs, drinking and driving. We have the free NERDA, we have lots of Ubers, cabs, all of that. And so I was just wondering, it's, from a visitor services perspective, is there anything we could do to kind of help that messaging to get them out, let them know that they have options, that they're, that way we don't see an increase in visitors with DUIs or anything like that. So.
Yeah, I agree. I would say that, with the taxis now combined with the availability of Ubers, the free NERDA Wave bus, in public education, the numbers definitely have gone down. But I think any way that there can be messaging out there, because the average person doesn't know when they come to Nantucket that the bus is free unless they see it somewhere. They don't know all the options that are available to them, shuttles to the brewery from visitor services at Federal Street there, like things like that. So, any way that we can do better outreach, I'm for that. I know that we teach our CSOs to have that, information and to share it. Obviously social media platforms are strong in that regard. I think Shantaw has a good working relationship with the social media outreach people from the town. And then we, a lot of times with public safety messages, will also, kind of repost or, help spread that message as well. But, the more ways we can get it out there, definitely the better. I don't know if there's initiatives, that can be done with bars and restaurants and such to, help encourage that. But, it wouldn't hurt. I can tell you that it would definitely be a positive thing.
I have a comment on that. It might be interesting at the end of the season before the CSOs depart, to have a little survey or meeting with them to say, what's your most asked question? What's your most comment of disappointment in visitors? Because they are the spokespeople, and they're the ones that answer all the questions. So I mean, it might be curious to get some feedback from them. It might be where it's the Cisco van, but David can tell you that, and Chantal, that's a question with a lot of people. But I mean, I don't think a lot of people that don't live here or in certain communities know about recycling, and that is something that is so necessary for our community. So little things like that. But we may want to contact them and say thank you for a good summer, and what are your suggestions of how we might be able to do things better. Chantal, you have a question?
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thanks, John, for being here. we very much appreciate getting the opportunity each year to go talk to the CSOs. It's probably the highlight of my season. I know it's officially started when I'm standing in front of them and I try to bring them treats and whatnot, you know.
And it's much appreciated.
Yeah.
It's really a bribing tactic with hopes that I won't get one of those parking tickets. So hasn't worked yet.
That's why we have to do that ethics certification right out of the gate.
And it's working because the amount of tickets I've gotten. But I just wanted to add to what Sergeant Rocket said in regards to the messaging around NERDA. I have to say that visitor services staff, I think that's one of the proudest things that we get to share with our visitors as they're coming to the island, when they call us, when they stop in. We have a really good relationship with the NERDA crew. So we have all of their maps and routes and whatnot here that we hand out to folks. And we're always encouraging people, don't bring your car. Just take the shuttle, rent a bike, that sort of thing. We share information about, safe biking on the island. And I know a lot of our hotels and whatnot, they look forward to getting those route maps. And if you go to a lot of the hotels, they'll have them out front for their guests to grab. So we're kind of spreading the message all over the place. NERDA, I will say, has been doing a really good job getting that information out to the public. I think at least once a quarter, I read an article about the free shuttle service, just like an update about ridership and all that good stuff. So I think we're trying to hit them in as many ways as possible. Of course, you can't get all the people all the time, but we have been, between the two offices and the chamber, that we've been pushing that information as best we can, and even off island as well, getting maps and things like that over to the terminals in Hyannis and up to Boston, because I know we have information up at Logan as well. So we're trying to get that information out there because we get it. And I think to speak to what Sergeant Rocket said, we have seen a significant increase in ridership because of that messaging, and hopefully it translates in less driving incidents for the officers to deal with.
Yeah, I personally hope, like obviously WineFest coming in this week here, that they're pushing that message. I can say from a public safety perspective that one of the concerns that we have with the new location is being remote out there. And, we don't want people driving. And is there going to be enough transportation for them to get back to town or wherever they may be going in a safe way? And obviously, what is that pedestrian traffic going to look like from people walking from the WineFest that may want to stop by the Cisco Brewery? So those are all things that we'll be monitoring closely because it's the new location. It's kind of an evaluation year to kind of see how things run and what the issues are, just because we're going into kind of going in blind at that location site for something. Obviously there's been events at Bartlett's Farm, but not to the level of this with alcohol consumption. So that's definitely things we'll be monitoring. So hopefully, the WineFest is really pushing that, do not drive. Please do not drive.
Yeah. Yeah. Obviously it's a new venue, so that message is important, to get out. Anybody else have a question? Garrison?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would echo very quickly, CSOs, I feel like are an extension of visitor services. I work downtown all summer and I see them walking up and down, left and right, and they get asked questions daily. So I'd be very interested to know what the training program is for them for the visitor services. And I'm happy to hear that Chantal is out there talking with them. I think from our end, Visitor Service Advisory Committee, I think you'd find that we're very happy to help you with any sort of messaging you need to help direct those CSOs as to what they need downtown. So if we can help in any way, meet with them, or as a hotel, as I run hotels, like if they need to talk to us, please have them come in and chat. So we're here to help you with that one. And as to what Madam Chair said about a CSO survey, I'd be also interested to see if the chamber would like to send one out at the end of the season about how CSOs can help us better. And so maybe on the flip side, we can ask our local businesses how they can help. And then finally, I'm happy to hear that they're getting new uniforms, and I am also happy to hear they are not wearing Nantucket Reds this year for their new uniforms. So I was a little nervous about that, but I'm glad they're not walking around red pants all season. So thank you for that.
Nope, no Nantucket Reds. Obviously, it's been the aesthetic gray for the last several years, but you are definitely going to see them. And we'll definitely be getting, I feel, probably a lot more feedback with that high visibility in a lot of ways. So.
Yeah.
As far as the survey, I think that's a great idea. I'd be happy to work with Shantar and staff and David in regards to setting something up, like what the feedback they'd like to see. The chamber with a good relationship with Peter Burke and the staff over there.
Yeah.
So I think that would be great. And yeah, to hear the feedback from the stakeholders among the chamber and downtown on what the CSOs can do better, I'm open to that. Like I said, I think it's important to speak to this committee and anyone to make them you all learn about the program, but also to set up that relationship where we want to hear feedback. The only way we can get better is by the feedback. All because it's been done a certain way for the last 30 years doesn't mean it can't change. And we have to change with the times, and we have to change to serve our community and the people visiting this community. So
Yeah.
Sounds cliche, but very, very true.
Yeah. Any other questions? I think obviously a survey or something, and letting them know in advance. We value the CSO's input at the end of the season. And then that will make them be a little bit more aware of, golly, they really care about, my encounters or how the town wants to make it better. So anyway, any other questions for Sergeant Rocket? Okay, seeing none. John, thank you so much for being here. It's always enlightening to think we're going into another summer.
Yeah, we are.
But, I'm sure under your guidance, everything will be fine. You're welcome to stay on, but I know you are extremely busy. So you do not have to stay on for the rest of our business meeting. But thanks so much for being here.
I thank you very much. Thank you for listening to some of my long-windedness, but I did want to just educate you appropriately. The last thing I will just say, in addition to thank you, is I'll make sure that Chantal or David can get out my contact information. You can contact me anytime, day or night. Might take a little bit to get back to you if not an emergency, but I will get back to you, and I appreciate it. And just my additional role here is not just community service officer program, but I also do the special.
Oh, we lost him. I think he was going to add that he does the special events coordination.
Yeah,
for the
exactly.
town.
Yeah.
So we work very closely with him on all of especially the large scale special events, on staffing and going through the public safety plans that are put together. We have a special events internal work group that includes fire, police, DPW, health, and planning, and will include other departments as needed to review all of the special event applications that we get monthly. We meet once a month to just go over all of them and get input from the different departments. Like we had mentioned last month, just to make things a little bit easier for the applicant, we get everyone in one room, review all the applications so that we can get back to the applicants in a timely manner, giving them everything. So John's fabulous. We're grateful to work with him.
Yeah, and that's an improvement, not only for the person waiting to hear about an application, but they don't have to go running around to umpteen different departments and asking the same questions in most of these areas. So thank you, Chantal and Dina, for that. Okay, moving along the agenda. The next item is the approval of the April 8th minutes. They were all received in our packet. Are there any changes or corrections? Okay, hearing none, can I have a motion to approve as written?
Motion to approve.
All right, is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Roll call to approve as written. Garrison?
Approved.
Liz Holland?
I have to abstain. I wasn't there last month.
Okay. Matt Peel?
Aye.
And chair votes aye. Okay, next item, director's report. Chantal, you're on. Okay.
Passport application came in, I guess.
Yeah.
No, sorry about that. Sergeant Rocket called. I saw
Yeah.
NPD come up on my phone and I was like, oh, it must be him. I
Yeah.
apologize. He wanted
Yeah.
me to share with you all that thank you for having him on, and that what he was sharing about the special events was that he's grateful that our office has taken on the brunt of the work, and that it has made all of the event application and approvals a lot easier, and being able to weigh in real time about what changes need to happen to ensure that these events are happening safely
Yeah.
to the community has been really great. So
Yeah. Perfect. Yes. Because as I said, it benefits everyone.
mhm.
Okay. Shanta, your report.
Thank you. So in the month of April, we had 96.5 thousand visits with 29.1 visitors. So we had a 3.32 frequency. The average dwell time was 13 hours. So folks are doing day trips. This is up 1.7% from last year. Friday to Sunday proved to be the busiest days of the week, with 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. being the busiest times. Our visitors were coming from South Yarmouth, Weston, Accord, Mashpee, and Greenwich. And they arrived via steamship, Highline, and through Logan. I can't pinpoint the individual airlines because they're so close to each other at Logan. So all I can see is Logan. And of course, Daffy Weekend brought us 11,600 visitors, which is up 4.9% from last year. Many of our visitors we found actually stayed off island. Comfort Inn / Heritage House was number one, with Hyannis Harbor Hotel being close behind. And they came over using the steamship mainly, then the Highline. We had 6.5% of our visitors for that weekend coming in from Martha's Vineyard, which I was like, yeah. And then Logan Airport and New Bedford Airport. Garrison, I'm
Yeah.
sorry, Madam Chair.
Yeah.
your hand.
Yeah,
Gar-
quickly, the hotel in me is speaking, if Comfort Inn and those are our biggest ones, do we have any outreach to them as far as what's going on in Nantucket, and do they have collateral or anything that they can give to their guests?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Yes. So each year the chamber does a fabulous job of mailing out their guides to different locations all throughout New England, because I can't even just say Massachusetts, because it's going all the way to Connecticut as well. It goes to Atlanta. There's somewhere in a visitor center in Atlanta that always requests Nantucket guides, which is wild to me. I love it. And then we get requests from different locations off island. We actually just got one that I forwarded to David for our travel and lodging brochures.
Yeah.
And let's see. Yep. So that's Daffy Weekend. I'm waiting for the tourism data, which gives me more details about like how much the people spent while they were here for the weekend. It's about 60 days behind, unfortunately, with that report, because I think it's just a lot of data for them to sort through. So I don't have it yet. So that report will come in a little late because I'm curious about what Daffodil Weekend spend was on the island. As far as resident data for the month of April, we saw a decrease in residents. We're down to 10.3, which last month we were at 13.1. So that was interesting. Residents were gone a lot throughout April. Thursday to Saturday, the island seemed very quiet as far as residents go. And the busiest locations for residents to visit on the island were the Cottage Hospital, the Steamship Authority Terminal, Sparks Avenue Shell Station, Marine Home Center, and Nantucket Meat and Fish. So thought those, I always love looking at those. And then as far as traffic data goes, excuse me, Madaket Road, Surfside, Rugged, Milestone, Old South, Nobody Farm Road, and Fairgrounds were our busiest spots. And those are just my notes from the meeting. So, so that's what I have. As far as passports go, we're still pretty steady right now, which is kind of nice. It gives Dina and I some time on Wednesdays now to review special events applications. So that's been pretty nice. Since our last meeting, we had about 30 as of yesterday, we had about 32 new special event applications come in. But I'll let Dina talk about that. Sorry, Dina, I see you there, so I'll leave that to you. So that's when it's your turn. That's sort of my spiel. Our staff is slowly rolling in. Our sites are getting open, so we're really excited. Season's here.
Yeah. Shanta, I have a question. Could some of the April drop in residents be because of school vacation week?
I'd imagine.
Yeah, because I know a lot of people, that's the last push you can go away before, season. And I know a lot of people do February, but sometimes April. Not to mention, I think there's an awful lot of spring sports going on too. Is there any way, and this may not be possible, when you talk about where people come from during the week, is there any way to equate if they are workers coming over here or not?
Yes. So what I give you are just true visitor data. I can see the worker.
Okay.
I can see the commuters as well. So that's a whole
Okay.
separate
Separate number. Okay,
Exactly.
perfect. Thanks, sir. I wasn't sure about that. Any other questions for Shanta? Okay, thank you. David. And then, David, if you want to talk about your report, and then Dina, we'll add you.
I provided you the stats for April, and as you can see, it's very strong. A lot of that was to do with passports, but still, even including passports, there were a lot of people who came through. We also had a steady number of phone calls, and mailings were up. There was one mailing where we had sent out 45 guides to a travel agency. And the other thing is that Daffodil was very good for us. And as you can see, Friday and Saturday were very strong. And so the other thing is, as Chantal mentioned, we are getting staff back. The office is now open Saturday 9 to 5, and we'll be open 9 to 1 this Sunday. And the Straight Wharf kiosk will open for the season on Friday, May 23rd. So, and then after that, we'll get the airport going, and as you know, staff are coming back, and it's gonna be a good season.
Perfect. Thank you, David. Dina, would you like to add something?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. Just adding on to what Chantal said about the applications. Overall, I've had 129 applications come in. 62 of those have been permitted, and 24 of those did not need permits, but needed assistance coordinating other departments. So some of the stats are a little false, but I'm happy to see that people are getting applications in well before the due date, which gives us, well, before the event, I should say, which gives us ample opportunity to meet with the event committee. As Chantal and Sergeant Rocket were discussing before, it meets every 4 weeks, so we have time to have a cycle and review those applications. I will also say that I've been going to the licensing meetings a lot more, which this is just my personal opinion, but I've been really happy to be able to be more involved in the municipal body. So the role has benefited me personally. And then this is related to what Chantal was sharing before, but I have insight that Cape Fair connects through Martha's Vineyard to go to JFK, and it connects in Martha's Vineyard to come back from JFK as well. So that might be a part of what is contributing to that. And there was something else that I wanted to say about events. Oh, I've gotten feedback from people in the community regarding being able to see an events calendar and see events more openly as it relates to tourism, such as like hotels and restaurants in the cultural district and around the island. for when major events such as like Wine and Film Festival are coming up. And I'm also in charge of maintaining the cultural district calendar and events on the website. So if people are asking about that, and if people are also watching this, if you go to the cultural district website, that is where you can keep updated on events going on around the island, and kind of be in the know about any large or major happenings. So just wanted to share that and get that out there as public outreach. Thank you.
Thank you, Dina. It's a great calendar. It's attractive and easy to navigate. So, anything else? Okay. It's 8:53. I can have a motion to adjourn if anyone would like to make it. And thank you all for getting through a rainy daffodil weekend, but wearing my garden club hat, we had lots of people at the flower show, which was personally a wonderful event for me. So thank you all. All right. We had a motion to adjourn, Liz Holland.
Yes.
Okay, approve the adjournment. Okay, Matt Peel,
Aye.
yeah, Garrison,
Aye.
okay, and the chair votes aye. Thank you all for being here. And we will see you next month. We do meet in June, correct?
Yes.
Yes, okay. Thanks so much for all your
Thank you
hard
all.
work.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.